here's the deal, Josh. I'll level with you here. So I love the idea of content. I love posting content. I love giving content. But I'm that guy that so I've been doing this for 15 years. For 15 years, there would be a point in my life I get excited. Yeah, I'm going to do a blog. I'm going to post every day. I'm going to get crazy on it. And I do it for 4 days and it would be awesome. And the 5th day, life kicks in, this happens, that happens, and I'm off the blog. I would do it with my Facebook page. I would then do it with my Instagram. You can even see right now, if you go to any of these pages, you'll see like periods where I go crazy and then I fall off. The one thing in my life that I've actually been very devoted to and done every single week has been this podcast. And that's mostly because I use it for this exact reason. I learn so much from it. So as soon as you say post good content to a LinkedIn group regularly to engage, I start to have anxiety. It's one more thing I got to do, one more social media profile. So coming in with that, talk to me a little bit about what is needed. I got this group. So let's hypothetically, I got a group of 10,000 people, all local leaders of digital marketing in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area. Talk to me. What do I do? What's next? How do I post content? How often? What kind of content? Let's go through that strategy.
I mean, most of our clients are even worse than you. They're not even, thinking about going on a run of creating lots of blog posts. They don't want to create content. They're not going to do it. And if we required them to do it as part of our strategy, it would fail. And so what we do, and we find this by design, initially, this was what we set out to do by design, not because people don't want to create content. But we found that it's better to just share resources and curate content. So find other people's stuff, third-party blog posts, third-party news related to your area or industry, different case studies you can come across. And there's all sorts of tools out there, like Feedly is a big one that we use.
What is it, sorry?
Feedly.
Feedly. Feedly.com.
It's a content aggregator, curator kind of tool. And basically, what you can do is plug in different keywords and interests and things like that. And it will just give you a fire hose of content from the web. And then you can review it and pull out the stuff that looks awesome and that you want to share into your group and include in some of your messages on LinkedIn, post as status updates, etc. And so our concept is that if you're talking about yourself all the time and you're just posting your own content all the time, in most cases, it just comes off as very promotional. And it also comes off as something that your prospects don't care about at all. And in most businesses and most industries, that's the case. In some cases, it's different. Like, I mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk earlier, right? Like people like him who are just like creating this like amazing content all the time. That's a little bit of a different story, right? But for Tom Swift running the IT company, the manufacturing executives that he works for don't want to read blog posts about what he does. They're not that interested in it. It's a very small sliver of their world. So instead, he curates lots of great content from all over the web, from all sorts of sources on the things that keep them up at night and the things that they are actually interested in. So it's a wide variety of resources that manufacturing executives care about, like supply chain stuff or lean manufacturing or, sales strategies or safety issues or, latest news from the manufacturing industry, all that kind of stuff. So that's what's in the group primarily. For our clients that do have their own content, we basically say, well, why don't we just sprinkle that in every once in a while? You can call it the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 or whatever it is. In a lot of cases, what it ends up being is more like 1 out of every 10 or 1 out of every 20 posts in the group is something that's a little bit more about our client, maybe a little more promotional, and maybe one of their blog posts or case studies or something like that. And so that way, we're really showing up as somebody who's just providing value, not just pushing our own stuff all the time. And the byproduct of that is that it doesn't require you to really create any content at all, which is cool.
That is the exact opposite of what I thought you would have said. Honestly, that's so relieving, right? Is that you're actually saying it helps you build authority more by not just constantly promoting your content. It actually helps you because I guess you're looked upon as an aggregator. Like, you're looked upon as a person just kind of trying to help them out and giving them, you're out there seeing I love it. Okay, I understand it. I get the psychology of it, and that's not that hard to do. And that can be done by someone else. Doesn't require me to make more videos, which I do enough of, or write more content or say more things. How often? Okay, you have your ideal client right now, Josh. You've got the ability they'll do whatever you want. How often would you want them posting to the group?
Once a day.
Once a day.
Yeah, so you need 20 to 30 pieces of content a month. I mean, if you're going to literally do every day, including weekends, 30 pieces of content a month is all you need. You could do twice a day if you really want to have a lot of stuff happening in there. But you got to remember, other people are going to start posting content too as the group grows. Quality is better than quantity, I believe. In a nutshell, that's really just what we recommend and what we find works, and it's a good balance. The thing is, a lot of people will get into this, and when you start the group, don't be surprised if initially there's not a bunch of people commenting and liking and engaging on it. LinkedIn groups, for when you're first getting them off the ground, you're not going to see a bunch of engagement in it. You got to stick with it and continue growing the group, and eventually that'll turn around. And one of the ways to get engagement, if that is important to you, is, like I said, in the messaging campaigns, when you're messaging your connections, invite them to comment on things in the group. And a lot of people will, a percentage of people will. And that's a good way to get things active in the group as well. Depending on your industry, in your space and with a marketing focused group, you're going to have other people in there who are going to want to be posting content too and making their presence known. And you just kind of have to keep an eye on that and moderate that content and make sure that people aren't spamming your group and whatnot.
Well, I thought that was really awesome. I didn't, I know nothing about LinkedIn groups, so I didn't realize other people can post there too. So, yeah, I mean, that now you become an aggregator at another level because other people are contributing to your group and in some way basically helping you with your authority and getting active in there. Wow. Very, very, very cool. So we talked about aggregating content, Feedly.com, posting things in there. Now, you had mentioned in the past round, and you mentioned it just now again, where you communicate with people to get them to go to the group. But if I'm posting once a day, obviously I'm not messaging everybody once a day saying, hey, I posted something new. Hey, I posted something new. How do you determine what, when, and how, where you post? How do you determine that? I mean, communicate, like who you send what to.
Right. Well, typically, the people who are in the group are going to see some of that content in a couple different ways, just naturally. Now, they're not going to see everything you put in there, but maybe once or twice a month, they end up seeing something that you put in that group. And so you're able to stay top of mind with them in that way, just with these light touch points providing value. Now, aside from that, it really depends on kind of what your current strategy is in the group. But our baseline strategy is that prospects who are in a current messaging campaign, which will be 5 or 6 LinkedIn messages sent one-on-one to prospects, those are the people who are going to be getting touches related to the group. And so that could be by the time we ramp it up, because what we do is we add new batches of prospects in every couple weeks into these messaging campaigns. And then they all are getting cycled through these 5, 6, 7 message campaigns that if they're getting a message every couple weeks and it's 7 messages, right? That's, 14 weeks. So that's 4 months or something like that, 3.5 months, right? So by the time you get to that 3.5 month mark, you have hundreds of people a month who are getting some touch point and interaction about the group, which is typically going to be enough to get enough people into the group commenting and posting and stuff.
I get it. You're not messaging existing group members saying, hey, I posted something cool, go check it out. This is part of the prospecting initial communication plan. I got it. All right, perfect.
At the same time, a lot of the people that do join the group and become existing members, though, they will end up receiving those messages at some point too. And so they're already in the group and you're just saying, hey, just posted something new in the group. Go check it out.
I love it. All right. Brilliant. Well, that sounds easy enough. Nothing big challenge there. Love it. Thanks so much. You cleared up so many misconceptions I would have had about starting a LinkedIn group. Random question. It's not completely not a part of this topic, but have you seen it to work the same way with Facebook groups? So with a Facebook group, is it also like, hey, curate content and post curated content in there and keep it active, and that's actually appreciated more than just always putting your own content in there?
There are a percentage of people in our programs. It's a small percentage, but we have a lot of folks in our programs that go through our training and have implemented the strategy on Facebook because they've determined that for their target market, people actually are approachable on Facebook more so than LinkedIn. For some businesses, their prospects, they're just not going to reach them on LinkedIn if it's not a business professional kind of market. And so, the strategy can work really well on Facebook too. And I think the same thing applies. Or if like you're a member of a Facebook group and you join it and it's got this great promise and you think it's going to be really cool, and then the person who runs the group is just constantly pitching their own stuff, after a while, it gets a little old. And we've seen, you see some of the experts in the online space who use or use Facebook groups and have lots of group members. And, I've joined those groups, and with the people, when they're just talking about themselves all the time and hyping their programs and stuff, it just quickly becomes clear, like, oh, this is just like a feeder group for this person's program, and there's really nothing but hype here.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.